such a pleasure to be joining you on this edition of the India Development Debate right here on ET Now. I'm Supriya Shrinate, and straight on to a story that refuses to die out of the headlines, because it is a full-blown political war over Vijay Mallya's revelation that he had informed Finance Minister Jaitley about his plans to flee the country. Now, Supreme Court lawyer Dushyant Dave has jumped into the scene, claiming that SBI did not act in time to stop Malia from exiting India, although he had an inkling on Malia's nefarious plans. The bank's top management has denied any leniency on its part, while the government has rubbished Dave's claims. Mukul Rohatgi, who was the Attorney General when the alleged meeting did happen, says it was he who had actually represented the bank's consortium in the case against Malia. Already a political slugfest, the Congress has sought a detailed probe into Malia's claims on his meetings with the Finance Minister and allegations that the CBI may have soft-pedaled the case. The BJP, on the other hand, is now trying to turn the tables on the Congress, stating that the Gandhi family was the proxy beneficiary of Kingfisher Airlines. The high-voltage political drama following Malia's sensational claims in the United Kingdom on Wednesday is a big topic of discussion and debate right here on the India Development Debate tonight. Joining us on the show are the two politicians. Nitesh Jain represents the BJP, Sanjay Jha represents the Congress party here. Shantanu Hussain is former Joint Director CBI, and Biswajit Bhattacharya, former Additional Solicitor General of India. Thank you very, very much, gentlemen, for being with us. My only request is keep your answers short. There is a lot of ground that I want to cover. And to the politicians specifically, I will give each one of you time to rebut the other's arguments. But please don't jump into arguments as we start this discussion. There is a reason why we do discussions differently than some of the other channels that you watch. Thank you very much. On that note, Mr. Biswajit Bhattacharya, it's only fair that I begin with you. What seems to be, and what Mr. Malia comes out and says, an innocent statement of meeting Finance Minister Jaitley, quote unquote, before leaving for London, has obviously now snowballed into a huge controversy with punches, counter punches flying thick and fast between political parties. Has Malia actually achieved what he had intended? A political slugfest showing that across the political spectrum he had friends. He's raised deep suspicions that he was helped by them at various stages, from sweet deals to alleged tip-offs. Has he been successful in planting seeds of, deep suspicion across the political spectrum?
Madam, are you asking me? Hello.
Yes.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
The audio is not very clear. What's the question, please? What is the question, please? Because audio is not very clear. What's the question, please?
What Mr. Malia says, an innocent statement, has now snowballed into a political controversy. Has Mr. Malia been able to, establish that he had friends across the political parties with deep suspicion that he was held by them at various stages, even an alleged tip-off? Has he been able to plant a seed of suspicion in the political sphere?
No, I'm very, very sorry. The audio is not clear at all. So I'm not able to.
Let's move on. All right. Give me a minute. I will come back to you. I will come back to you because I think I want to move on with the other guest. Can we please get his audio fixed before I go back to him? I've asked him twice. We need to get his audio fixed, please. But Shantanu Hussain, you've been, you've been in the probe agency. It is India's premier investigative agencies. When statements like these come, Mr. Malia first makes the statement in lunch, comes back after the hearing, and then says this was a completely innocent statement. I bumped into the finance minister. But look at what he achieved. He's achieved what was intended, a political slugfest, with political parties now outdoing each other in raising suspicion. Has he planted seeds of suspicion and established that he had friends across the political parties and he was held by them at various stages?
He may have tried to do something. He may have exposed Mr. Arun Jaitley, embarrassed him considerably. And out of that he thought he will gain, because when there is acrimony among the two parties, they will lose interest in him. But I think it's very childish to think like this. The court case will go on. His hearing in the Magistrates' Court at Westminster will not cease. Right. Now, the two parties will certainly have an acrimonious debate. And Mr. Jaitley will be hard put to answer, because now the Congress party has also produced a witness. And they know that the LOC was downgraded, diluted, and immediately after that, he of course went a couple of times and came back. So he sort of bluffed the CBI. He gained their confidence. CBI thought he will come back, and he made a sort of a bit of a, I must use the word, bit of an ass of the CBI officers who believed a criminal like him. They downgraded and diluted the LOC.
Okay, Mr. Sen. Okay.
Put the fat in the
Mr.
fire.
Sen, I have a specific question on downgrade and dilution of the lookout circular. So please bear with me. I will come back to you and talk to you about that. I have a specific question on the lookout circular, and I will be taking your views on that. But before I move any forward, Sanjay Jha, it's only fair that I get this question out of my way. Look at the political slugfest that has followed ever since Mr. Malia chose to speak in UK. He is an economic offender. He is a fugitive. He's refused to come back and face the law here. And yet what he said has snowballed into a huge controversy, with charges and counter charges flying thick and fast. Has he been able to achieve what he intended to, a political slugfest? And has he been able to also establish that he had friends across the political spectrum? He's planted seeds of suspicion of him being helped at every stage.
Supriya, there are two extraordinary coincidences that make the BJP's position absolutely untenable, no matter what they say in their defense. The first is what I assume you will discuss a little later, is the downgrading or the dilution of the CBI lookout circular. I think that's an absolutely an irrational decision. Here was a very flamboyant industrialist accused, by the way, of not just defaulting, a willful defaulter in PSU debts, but also in terms of money laundering. Now you have a situation here where the lookout circular changes from detained to report, and when Vijay Mallya actually left India on March 2nd, I don't think the CBI was even informed. They were not even reported to, which I think is an absolutely scandalous scam. I mean, there is no other way to justify it. The other part is about India's Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's meeting with Vijay Mallya. Mr. Jaitley doesn't say anything about it till Vijay Mallya blurts it out in London. And I'll tell you what is disturbing about it, and I say this as a former banker. Mr. Jaitley has the entire PSU and the private banking system reporting to the Finance Ministry. Now, the truth is, on March 2nd, when Attorney General Mukul Rohtgi goes to the Supreme Court talking about recovery of assets or freezing of Vijay Mallya's passport, didn't happen suddenly in the morning of March 2nd. The process was on. There was a legal process of recovery where banks like SBI were talking to lawyers like Mr. Dushyant Dave and other legal experts, saying, how can we prevent him from running away? It is absolutely
Sanjay, give me a minute.
Naive to believe that Mr. Jaitley did not know. And if Mr. Jaitley was told by Vijay Mallya is going to London, he should have informed the relevant authorities.
No. No. One second, Sanjay, because there are counter arguments to the argument that you are making as well. Mr. Jaitley did not meet him allegedly. He passed him in the corridor. That is what Mr. Jaitley's defense is, and it's a pretty plausible defense to have. So there are counter arguments to be made. Let's not take everybody's word for the gospel truth here. But I will go across to Hitesh, and Hitesh, the moot question remains that Malya's great escape was aided by the CBI changing his detain notice and all of that. And the moot question also remains, at whose behest did this happen? He was tipped off. That notice was changed to mere inform on October 25th, 2015. At whose behest was that done? Can this be done at the behest of just the agency, and the political class is completely oblivious of this?
Well, Supriya, this is the difference between Congress and BJP. As far as we are concerned, since we have come to the power, we have given independence to CBI and we have not interfered with the process of CBI. We do not allow the CBI to be treated as a caged parrot as the Congress used to be. So we have given them complete autonomy. We do not interfere with their investigation process, and we allow them to take whatever decision they want to do. So the fact is that whatever it is there, these are CBI's decision for which the government, I mean, there are evidence, I mean, for last 4 years, there has not been a single instance where it is found that the government has given any telephonic instruction or telephonic directions. No such attempts have been made or such acts have been done. CBI has been given complete autonomy and CBI takes its own decision.
Okay, so Hitesh Jain from the BJP asserts that the CBI may have taken its own decision. There was no political interference. Let's take this across to Shantanu Sen before I come to you, Vishwadheesh Bhattacharya. Stay with us now. Shantanu Sen, can CBI in such a high-profile, controversial case that was being reported on a daily basis just get away by saying it did so because of an error in filing of a form? I mean, who has been held responsible in CBI for this mistake? And does CBI really expect us to believe that they just made a clerkial error in which box had to be ticked?
Well, if CBI has taken that stand, CBI will have to explain. You know the position that the person who registers a case for investigation has the responsibility to confine him, detain him, to interrogate him. Nobody else. He may have committed a crime at the instance of others. They are now his accomplices. But they are not at fault when he gets away. Now, he had this LOC that was given in October 2015, immediately after registration of the case. And that is the practice. We issue, as an investigating officer, when we investigate high-profile clients or customers, we certainly ensure that they don't run away, show us a clean pair of heels. And that is the thing why we get the LOC, prepare a careful LOC, identify him, and all exit and entry points in the country are given the circular. And as a CBI officer, after that I would forget about it. I will not even consider reducing or diluting it, because that will remain in place till my charge sheet is filed and the trial concluded. It's my job. It is my job as an investigating officer to ensure that he is confined and I am able to bring him before the court. The court will ask me, you have filed a charge sheet, where is the accused? What answer will I give? So CBI will issue the LOC and forget about it.
Okay, just give me a minute now. Shantanu Sen, give me a minute. I will go across to Vishwadheesh Bhattacharya and then come back to you. And Mr. Bhattacharya, Dushyant Dave, I mean, what justifies the fact, and we're now just talking about escape, so I'm going to bring in legal points of view here. What justifies the fact that SBI, which had apparently engaged Mr. Dushyant Dave, according to him, to represent it in the Supreme Court and was advised to move court on the 28th of February so that Malia's passport could be confiscated and a restraint order reached, no action was taken because Mr. Dave says that the next day when he reaches Supreme Court, no SBI official was present. Who is to be blamed? Because 24 or 48 hours later, less than 48 hours later, Malia fled the country. The SBI is now saying that it was proactive and there was no laxity. But what was its role in getting a restraint order?
You see, there are two distinct issues involved here. Number one issue is the recovery of the bank's dues, and an equally joint number one is that the person concerned has to be restrained from escaping. Now, as far as restraint from escaping is concerned, State Bank of India is not a police organization. I don't want to comment what transpired between my good friend Dushyant Dave and an outstanding institution like State Bank of India, always headed by persons of unimpeachable integrity, the only institution in the country perhaps which stands taller than all other institutions. So I don't want to comment. But the question is, if the issue is restraining a person from escaping from the country, then what was Central Bureau of Investigation doing? What were other agencies of the central government doing? I think this puts the Central Bureau of Investigation and other agencies who were competent and capable enough to restrain without a judicial intervention, let alone Supreme Court intervention. I think the entire focus of the debate is being submerged into trivialities.
Okay.
Number one issue is recover the dues.
Absolutely. That's exactly my point. No, Biswajit Bhattacharya, that's exactly my point. That this entire debate is being submerged by political arguments being made. Please listen to me. Because I'm coming back to you for a question. The problem with this debate is that it is being submerged by political pot shots being taken at each other.
Our fiscal situation hugely. 5,75,000 crores of interest has been
sir. Please let me
budgeted for. 5,08,000 crores.
If he can't hear me, I'll have to move on. Can he hear me?
Establishment
Mr. Biswajit Bhattacharya, please listen in to me. Mr. Biswajit Bhattacharya, can you please listen to me? Can you hear me? Forget it. Let's move on. Okay. Okay. We seem to have lost that feed because I don't think he's getting my audio there. Let me come to, let me just very quickly get a question out of the way with Hitesh, and then I will go across to Sanjay Jha. Hitesh, Mukul Rohtgi, the former Attorney General who was then the Attorney General, has refuted Dave's claims of being in court. He asserts he was the one representing SBI. Now the question is, who do we believe? Because Mr. Rohtgi has also said in the same breath that a timely court order should have been taken confiscating Malia's passport as he was not serious about repaying. And you know, Mr. Bhattacharya made an interesting comment there. This raises questions on the competence of CBI. Why did they not act? You can't wash away your hands by saying we're not interfering. These agencies are responsible, right? And they report into the political class at the end of the day. They report into the government. Okay, there seems to be a problem with Hitesh as well. Let me take this across to Sanjay Jha then. And Sanjay, I know while you allege that BJP aided him in escaping from India, the BJP alleges it was the Congress-led UPA government that helped him evergreen his loans between 2010 and 2011. The evergreening of NPA actually happened under your watch is the allegation from the Congress, from the BJP. Now, Mr. Vijay Mallya even wrote a letter of appreciation to then Prime Minister, insisting how he was very helpful, how he had asked him to go and meet TK and Iyer. You know, so this, in resolving the mess at KFA, he was grateful for the help. The allegation is you helped in aiding what was evergreening of Vijay Mallya's NPAs.
Supriya, before I answer your question, please remember in the tip-off given to Vijay Mallya, there is a very organized, systematic pattern. That's the same way Nirav Modi and the Mehul Choksis left India for foreign shores. But we'll discuss that later. And as far as the BJP's acquisitions are concerned, let me tell you, I say this with complete conviction. They are outrageous, they are outlandish. And I'll give you 2 points here. Number one, can you imagine such a vindictive government? Narendra Modi and the Amit Shah combined are known for political retribution and vindictiveness. You think for the last 4.5 years, if they had evidence, they would be waiting for Vijay Mallya to make a statement about Jaitley in London and then act on it? The truth is, if they have any evidence, we challenge them to come and produce it and take necessary action. They have none. Now, let me tell you the second critical part, which will expose the BJP. The truth is that if the Congress party or the UPA influenced any decision from the banking system to Mr. Malia, how is it that the BJP elected Mr. Vijay Mallya to the Rajya Sabha? Mr. Vijay Mallya would have never become a Rajya Sabha member without the BJP support in Karnataka. Worse, and this is the factual point, they helped him escape. So if there was any Congress connection, the BJP would have been actually hounding us from the day one since Narendra Modi became Prime Minister. And and let me tell you the other critical part.
No, Sanjay, 1 second.
Piyush Goyal was on the board of directors of two banks which were in the consortium that lent money to Kingfisher. 2004 to 2008, I think Kingfisher was
Okay.
very much getting money from public sector banks, and SBI, which was the leading bank in the consortium, had Piyush Goyal in the board of
Okay.
directors. So
Okay.
who are they trying to hoodwink here? The
No,
truth is
Sanjay,
that
one
at the
second.
end of the day, NPAs moved
give me a
from
second.
2.5 lakh crores to 12
I
lakh
asked you a
crores,
question.
and the BJP is responsible for it.
Yeah. No, one second, Sanjay. I asked you a very simple, straight question that the evergreening of NPA happened while you were in office, which is 2010 to 2011. Will you not shoulder the responsibility for that? Because Mr. Malia has also written a letter to the Prime Minister thanking him for his help. But talking on the same letter and looking at the flip side of the argument that I just made, Hitesh Jain, a letter that Mr. Malia wrote to the Prime Minister thanking him for his meeting is being cited as evidence of UPA collusion. But going by the logic of misusing privilege as a Rajya Sabha MP, like Mr. Jaitley says, the same Rajya Sabha MP could have called on the Prime Minister with woes in his company and the aviation sector. What's wrong with that?
Supriya, one point.
Hitesh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you
Just to
repeat
make
the
one
question,
point
please?
here, if you don't mind.
Yes, 1 second. My question, Hitesh, really is that the same letter that I questioned Sanjay Jha on, the flip side of the letter is that what is wrong in a letter that an industrialist writes to the Prime Minister, thanking him for his help. His sector was in trouble. We all know KFA was in trouble. He had gone seeking some help. He got that help and he's written a letter of thanks. What is wrong with that letter? It's pretty common practice, is it not?
Well, the letter is an acknowledgement of the favors that were doled out to Malia to continue with his loot and scoot. This letter is not just one instance. The instance is that without due diligence, he was given further loans in 2012. Now, Supriya, there is one very important aspect. He made an application to the Reserve Bank of India on 18th August 2010. And in 9 days, we saw in which case you have seen Reserve Bank of India within 9 days take the actions and give help to Mr. Malia. Obviously, this has to be at the instance of the bosses, and that is the reason he is thanking the Prime Minister. So it is very, the actions of the bank and the Reserve Bank of India clearly shows. And today there has been one very important revelation that has come by Mr. Rizvi of Waqf Board, where he said that Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad called him personally to say that Mr. Rahul Gandhi's instructions are there, that Mr. Malia is an honest businessman and therefore no action should be taken on his factory, which was constructed on the illegal, on the basis of illegal construction on the Waqf Board. So all this, the couple with the fact, the advantages enjoyed by the Gandhi families at the time, which clearly shows the kind of upgrade they were receiving, the letters, the open acknowledgement in the press conference held by the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. These are all the, when you combine all the factors, that clearly shows it was not just routine, a routine businessman writing a letter.
A quick
but
rebuttal,
an
Supriya, if you don't mind.
clearly
50
trying to help
seconds.
Mr. Malia.
I will let you come in. Right. Okay, give me a second. I think Sanjay Jha wants to come in with a rebuttal and then I have a follow-up with you, Hitesh. Go ahead, Sanjay Jha, very quickly. He makes the point about the allegations about the Gandhi family and the political patronage that he got, which evergreened the NPAs.
Supriya, a terrible mistake made by the BJP, because it is in the public domain that there was another airline called SpiceJet which was in serious financial crunch around the same time. You remember Jet Airways was also in a financial stringency and sold out to Etihad. Now in case of SpiceJet, it's very interesting because you had Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, a BJP MP, writing to Prime Minister Modi saying there are a lot of shady dealings here, you need to take action. And one of the action points was that the aviation ministry of Mr. Modi's government was telling banks, please help Ajay Singh, please help SpiceJet. So what is BJP trying to be so hypocritical about? I mean, at the end of the day, you can't have the cake and eat it too. So if Arun Jaitley meets Vijay Mallya, it is business as usual. But if Dr. Singh, actually there is a correspondence, there is a documented correspondence that is deemed corruption. I mean, this is a ridiculous charge.
Sorry,
they need to explain the SpiceJet deal.
Malia,
and why
Mr.
after
Malia
meeting Jaitley,
Okay.
why did Vijay Mallya run away to London?
Try to have
That is the point
conversation.
you need to answer.
Right. Okay. No, one second. Sanjay Jain, Hitesh Jain, I don't think firstly we have to establish here that Mr. Jaitley has categorically denied meeting Vijay Mallya. The meeting that Mr. Punia is referring to, Mr. Jaitley denies that, so it's a matter of his word against Mr. Punia's, and I don't think we can be sitting on judgment there. It's very important to clarify to our viewers here that Mr. Jaitley has denied any such meeting taking place. But taking your point forward, Hitesh Jain, I have a very simple, direct question to ask of you. Union Minister Piyush Goyal said that since 2010, all laws were broken. RBI was roped in to help Vijay Mallya, the point that you made. He is now being blamed, and you know, now the BJP is being blamed for it. The Prime Minister, Finance Minister of the UPA government helped Kingfisher in many ways. And of course, now Sambit Patra says that Kingfisher was owned by the Gandhis through a proxy. You claim to have documents to prove this, and these are very serious allegations. These are damning allegations, if I may. Why have you not made them public so far? What were you waiting for? For Vijay Mallya to make a statement in UK and then you will go public with this information? Why have you not acted on this information? Because this is serious information, if at all, that you're sitting on. Please wait, Sanjay.
As far as Vijay Mallya's statement are concerned, Supriya, he is under the glare of the law and he is trying to build up his case that there is no case, and what is happening in India, he is getting, he is a victim of the political slug fight between the two parties. Obviously, he is defending himself. He is going to try to pull out every possible stunt to save himself. But what is happening over here? Here what we can see is clearly an alliance between the Prince of Lies and the King of Good Times. When he is trying to take a defense of political slugfest, Congress actually, by making charges which are baseless, is trying to support the defense of Vijay Mallya. And as far as actions are concerned, in 2015, the CBI on its own had lodged the FIR. The banks were in the court. The action taken by the government under the Fugitive Offenders Bill, we know what are the proceedings that have been started. The prosecution under money laundering. So, in fact, if you will see the kind of actions that have been taken, not only against Vijay Mallya, but every other person who is defaulted has been historic. And for the first time in the last 4 years, you are seeing the kind of actions that have been taken.
Okay. All right. Hitesh, hold that thought. I wasn't talking about action taken against Vijay Mallya or, you know, the bankers acting. I was talking about the allegations that you've raised against the Gandhi family and why haven't you taken those actions. But that debate set aside. Shantanu Hussain, coming to you, the CBI, according to the Economic Times, has now widened or has decided to widen the Malia probe. It has approached the Finance Ministry, has sought files of the former Finance Minister in the UPA time, and a fresh charge sheet could also be on the cards. My question to you, as somebody who's been in a very, very significant position at the CBI, is why is India's premier investigative agency acting or being triggered to act by the statements of a fugitive economic offender? I mean, if at all this was important, shouldn't this have already been covered? And if not already been covered, why are they acting on it now? I mean, why does Vijay Mallya's word carry so much weight? The Investigative Agency of India is listening to him in London and then acting in New Delhi. What sort of investigation are they doing?
You are acting on the information which has been put in the press, media. But as a CBI officer, I know that when you take up investigation against somebody of the type which is being done against Malia, Mehul Choksi or Nirav Modi, see, the bank officials connive with them, and the connivance can be up to the highest level. Now, CBI does that job against them, takes up investigations against them, and I am sure, I am 100% sure, CBI has already been investigating them. I am really surprised why after 2015, when the case was registered, why after a year of 2015, CBI has not put in a few charge sheets in court. This is the tragic part. If CBI had by now put in some cases in court against others who connived with the absconding accused, whether it is Vijay Mallya or Mehul Choksi or Nirav Modi or Jatin Mehta, they may have run away. But those who helped them, those who connived with them, those who colluded with them, they could be put in court. You know, in the Bombay blast and other cases of ours in the CBI, we always put in a charge sheet against those who were available and then went on catching the absconders.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is the way the investigation is
Fair
done.
point.
The question
Yeah,
that
fair
does
point.
arise,
You make an
and
important point there as far as
that is-
investigative
why
agencies are
have they-
concerned. But
why
Hitesh
have
Jain,
they
I will
not
come
done
to
it?
you. And the question is that there are big investors and there are big industrialists like Shankar Sharma and Harsh Goenka who've alluded to the fact that Vijay Mallya is being treated unfairly. I am no supporter of Malia. I think anybody who flees this country and is not willing to face the law should be brought to book. If he owes money to banks, he needs to repay it. But I am quoting the top investors and the top industrialists of this country. They believe Malia is being treated unfairly. His business went bust and he's not even the biggest defaulter. I mean, that's truth be told. It is being alleged that this is criminalization of a civil default, and obviously questions are being raised on limited liability. But Hitesh, before I come to you, if I can take that question to Biswajit Bhattacharya. Mr. Bhattacharya, on this entire thing, what does it mean for limited liability? You know, Mr. Vijay Mallya, a lot of his industrialist peers today believe he is being targeted unnecessarily. I have no sympathies for him. But what about criminalization of what is largely a civil suit?
You see, sorry. You see, the question is that recovery of the dues is an entirely civil liability. And if all the stakeholders had concentrated on recovery of dues and not slugfest politics, like I am quite shocked that somebody writing a letter to the Prime Minister can take a criminal color. I am equally shocked that two members of parliament meeting within the parliament is being debated all around. I am equally surprised that Mr. Jaitley is being so defensive. That itself raises a question. Now, as far as your specific question is concerned, let banks and everybody concentrate on recovery of dues. Let everybody watch what happens on 10th of December.
Okay. Just to, let me just take that point forward, because this loan was lent by a consortium of 17 banks led by SBI. And Hitesh, you are a lawyer, you deal with these kind of cases. If banks can on an average take a haircut of about 50-52%, Malya's offer in 2016 was actually willing to pay 7% less than the outstanding principal amount. Was this an error of a judgment? We did not take that money back, and today, you know, how much ever we recover, we'll be able to recover very, very less money from what he really owes. Hitesh.
Well, this is a very subjective assessment a bank can make. And you cannot compare all the cases. Yes, the banks have taken haircut in the past to settle the dues, but on the contrary, there are cases where the banks have insisted that they are not going to take the haircut and they are going to ask for 80 and 90% for the simple reason, or the 100% for the simple reason they believe that the person has a capacity. When you invoke an action under willful defaulter, the premise of such action is that in spite of having the capacity to pay, you are not going to pay. So one can understand a commercial decision when the company is absolutely bankrupt, there is no chances to recovery, you can go for a haircut. But when you have taken a willful defaulters, that means the banks have made an assessment that Vijay Mallya has a capacity to pay, but what he has done, he has siphoned the money, he has laundered the money, and that is the reason they have invoked the proceedings under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and criminal proceedings for siphoning of money. So that explains the situation perhaps as to why the bank were not agreeable to accept the offer made by Vijay Mallya.
Okay, fair point indeed. And you know, Mr. Vijay Mallya was never really making concrete offers. He was saying this property is mortgaged. If I win this case, you can get this money. So on that count, I agree with you. But Sanjay Jha, very quickly, as a closing comment, let you have a quick last answer on this. Why are we taking Vijay Mallya's comments on face value? if tomorrow he names some other big political figure across the other side of the political spectrum and says that he discussed his settlement plans with him, are we going to assume that the person is going to be guilty if proven otherwise? I mean, please, let's not lose sight of the fact that Vijay Mallya is an economic offender who has chosen to willingly flee the country.
Supriya, let me tell you that the biggest problem with the political system today, and particularly since Narendra Modi became Prime Minister, is the absolute dissipation of transparency. I'll give you an example. You have the former governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Raghuram Rajan, putting it on record in his response to the parliamentary panel on NPAs, that I have given a list of the biggest willful defaulters. Now, willful defaulters are those who are deliberately frauding India's banking system. That list, he says, has been given to the Prime Minister's office, and he's written after that I'm intrigued and I'm not aware of what progress has happened, if at all, is very tardy and not been effective. Now, that I think is a manifestation of the malaise within, I think, the political system. I think, Mr. Modi should be asked, because I agree that Vijay Mallya was the flamboyant poster boy of NPAs because of his IPL, his Force One, formula racing, etc., etc. But the truth is, India has some very large-scale defaulters. One of them, we believe, is a winner of a massive contract in the Rafale.
We get that.
Now, these are issues that are interlinked together. And I believe the government has to be a lot more open about it, because end of day, the public will find out. You can't escape this.
Okay. Sanjay, I'm sorry, I've completely run out of time here. You make an important point there that there are many bigger defaulters, but guess what? There are laws now to ensure that these defaulters will be brought to book. Whether it's IBC, whether it's NCLT, whether it's the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill, these things will help catch these economic offenders. The reality is that they've been able to flee the country, and that is where India needs to do some soul searching. But 48 hours after Vijay Mallya dropped the bombshell, a big political battle is brewing with punches, counter punches, a no-holds-barred battle of sorts. Has Malia and his loan default really got caught in the political crossfire? That's the thought we want to leave you with. Thank you very, very much, gentlemen. Hitesh Jain, Sanjay Jha, Biswajit Bhattacharya and Shantanu Hussain for being with us on this edition of the India Development Debate.